Hi, Guido Fox here. Welcome by a new book report. Today I want to discuss with you the book I Think, the book of change. It's written in Dutch, but I will translate it, of course, in English. It's 500 pages of depth, life wisdoms from Lao Tse and Confucius. So it's all about the Chinese philosophy, the Chinese spirituality. There are a lot of daily practice advices in this book, but I want to go with you deeper, of course, because I'm an in-depth life coach. So we go deeper in the spirituality, and I will tell you the deeper lines in this book, the deeper spiritual lines, the energetical lines for really change. This is the book of change, so I try to change you because we can change. And the first step to change is to understand that you can change, right? We are living in a society and we learn things, we go to school, but energetically changing is a very rare phenomenon. And also that you can work on yourself, that you become better with your social skills and your verbal skills and your social dynamic skills is what a lot of people not really know. So the first step is that you can see by others that they can change in their lives to higher spiritual stages and higher spiritual levels of well-being and happiness. So you can change, and I think it is wonderful to say to you that it also can really happen with you, that you can change. In this book that are wisdoms from 3,000 years old. Can you imagine, right? 3,000 years old wisdoms are in this book from Confucius and Lao Tse. I want to pick out with you the most interesting topics in this book, so you don't have to read this book anymore, right? And I'm also a coach who read books. Very rare, a lot of coaches are not reading books, but I think it is very important to do and stay to do because your value as a coach is important. Also to have a lot of knowledge, right? First, I want to go with you to page 3. And on page 3, I don't know who it is, Confucius of Lao Tse, but I know that it's from different persons. But I tell you the deeper line, deeper the wisdoms, and not saying if it's from Confucius or for Lao Tse or whatever. It is for me important that you understand the deeper sentence about what they saying. So what they saying here on page 3 in this book, and that is wisdom 1, is that you can have a power in yourself to change. So you can have an creating power in yourself and creating line, creating chakra activations in your body, what you can feel and what you can explode. And that's a very interesting topic. So you can become a higher being. That's the core essence of this book, is how you can change in a higher being, where the ego is dissolved and where you can reach really the ecstatic feelings of your body chakras. So how to become a higher being is the core essence of this book, and that is immediately on the right point on page 3, is that you can do it yourself. You can go self with your mind into your energetic system and be there, and so you can all day long focus on yourself, in yourself, and opening up the chakra activations to activate the chakras. That is to how you become a higher being and stepping out of crowd conditioning, because the crowd and the crowdy people are unconsciousness, right? So you are here to learn how to be more consciousness and how to be extremely happy with yourself, and therefore you don't need all those addictions from the outside world, right? Like alcohol, sex, partying all the time, amusement. So what you see is if you are more centered and more by yourself, you can really enjoy with much more less than before. And that's what they're saying here. To become a higher being, to become holy, is that you're going from your middle chakras to the head. And that is important to understand. The spiritual energy is going from the middle chakras, the 3 hearts on a row, to the crown on your head. And then you become holy, then you become really a higher being in this society. But you have to step out of the crowd, of course, right? The crowd is operating on 200 consciousness levels, so you have to weak out to reach this kind of high spiritual levels and leave the crowd by the crowd. That's also why I'm never try to never be outside my home between 8 or 9 or 5 or 7 in traffic jams, right? Because there's so much stress in the atmosphere. There's so much tensions. There are fights, traffic fights. People are so stressed out that you really have to protect yourself to go lower in your energy fields. And that's the same with the weekends. I try also to avoid to come outside in the weekends. Friday afternoon is a horrible time. The crowd is out, the 9 to 5 people, and they have to party, they have to go out because all the week they're sitting as kind of rats in their small offices. So all those suppressions from people, the 9 to 5 people or 9 to 7 people, have to go out in the weekend. So that's also what you see here in Amsterdam, that there's so many police agents are needed to control how the crowd, with all those fighting, drunk mechanisms and sexual suppressed feelings, has to control in the weekends. So if you want to raise up in your happiness and if you want to raise up in your ecstatic feelings, you have to avoid crowd conditionings, or you have to protect yourself really well. So Jesus was not of the crowd, absolutely not. He was a higher being and a holy being, and he was meditating on a mountain somewhere far away of the crowd. So be aware of this. Also, that's what I want to say here, is be aware in what kind of energy fields you are operating, and if you are really tired afterwards or not. And if you're really tired, the energies are not good for you. It can also be by your parents, That was in my case, that they were so tiring afterwards after I visit them on a certain time. That means that there is a toxicity and there is low spiritual energy fields, and you have to escape. You have to go your own way, because if things become so tired for you, it gives signals to your energy system and signals to your soul that it's not good to be by certain people anymore, where you not belong anymore. You grow out intellectual, spiritual, and some people. And that is really also can be very hard in spiritual path. The path is alone, right? But also that you have to say goodbye to friends, maybe family, maybe your colleagues, to raise your soul higher and higher. So that can be hurting, of course, but that's better for you. You become the person with your 5 best friends in your surroundings, right? So you become the 5 people who is the most close by you. Think about that, right? So choose friends who are raising you up, who are positive, who is constructive, and be a plus for your life. That's important to understand also in life coaching dynamics, and to choose picky wise. You have to be very critical with who you goes. If you goes with low social calibrating persons, don't do it, right? Because you're going lower in your energy, you're going lower in your happiness feelings, and that's where you don't want to go. You want to go higher and higher. So you have to go to your head. You have to send your energy upwards to your head, to the third eye chakra, the crown chakra, and it's a long journey. It's a very long journey. It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody, no way. It's really spiritual mastery. It's spiritual mastery to go higher and higher in your body chakra activations. But then you can be in higher being, in higher holy being, and you go higher than the people from the lower grass. Page 5. Then you become strong and untiredness. And strong means also vulnerable. You become massive more sensitive. You become massive more sensitive and vulnerable from influences from the outside world, from feelings, inner feelings from persons. Last week I can feel on a person, I know you're hungry, right? Yeah, I'm hungry. How do you know that? Yeah, I feel you're hungry. I feel that you're hungry, that you need some food. I feel bad people if they're aggressive. I feel immediately if they're going to steal things. So in higher being and also very more sensitive. And that's strong. How more sensitive, how strong, because you let impressions in. You let them in. Be aware of the emotions of people is strong. You are strong and your untiredness. If you're connected with your 7 centers and you get some Holy Spirit around you and you get some warm energy field, then you become strong and untiredness. You have a very powerful source inside, and you can go on and go on and go on. That's strongness. And page 6, you're all the day creating. And that's the deepest part of creativity. We are also saying, a lot of persons, I want to do something creative. I want to make something, or I want to make paintings. I want to do something creative. The deepest part of creativity is inner creativity. You can create your chakra line. You can create your Holy Spirit. That's the deepest part of creativity. The deepest part of creativity is inner creativity. And then your outer creativity will be massive, will be much more beautiful, much more colorful, much more quality. So if you explore your inner creativity, you become massive creativity for the outside world. All the day, be aware of your line. All the day, be aware of that line. If you're all the day active there, your life will transform. You will change forever. And people become positive to you. If I'm there, people will smiling to me. People are coming to me. They like to talk to me. So your life will be a mirror of your soul, right? Your life will mirror of your soul. So if you're shiny, if you're calm, and if you're peaceful, people are peaceful to you. So you're strong, you'll be untiredness, and you can create all the day. All the day you can create. How beautiful is that? And page 6, we are only by page 6, guys. And you have influence. If you are by your 7 centers, you have influence on your surroundings, on the people you met, without any tension. The most people, 90%, has to focus, has to overshout themselves to make impression. Think about Hitler, right? That's popping up in his mind. He had to overshout himself. He had to physical overstretch himself to make impression. But if you go into your core and to your 7 centers, and you can make influence in the space without any tension, without any overstretched feelings. That is the Holy Spirit, right? The Holy Spirit is there. Only that is enough. Only that is enough to make impression. To make egoless impression. That's your goal. Your goal is to make impression without that you really want to make impression. Page 46. Over-politeness, over-formal, over-modesty. And you're coming by this subject a little bit by the 2 nice guys mentality, right? So two nice guys mentality. You're not real, right? So spirituality is really down to earth. You have to be real. You have to show yourself completely. Too much people have formal mask. Every time in another social environment they put a mask on yourself. But you are too formal in business mindsets. Jesus was also fed up with that, all those masks. Be real, right? Be honest. And not being too nice. And that is what Confucius and Lao Tse wrote here 3,000 years ago, is that people are too modesty, too formal, too polite, and try to show off, try to be holy as hell, to be unreal, to be too formal, to be te netjes, zoals ze dat in het Nederlands zeggen. Too polite. So be more real, be more natural. Be a little bit more natural, be a little bit more real. That's what he was throwing here on page 46. Page 81. If you are connected with your inner line, if you are connected with your inner soul, then all the outside mechanisms will flow. And that is interesting, right? So if you are connected, if you are meditative, then everything else in life will flow. Everything else will be as water, will be more flexible, will be more tensionless. And it's a very interesting sentence here. He wrote here, if you are so high, so holy, so high in your consciousness, then the heaven is so high, there's no invasion anymore possible. So there's no invasion possible if you're so high. If you're so high in your spiritual levels. Nobody can touch you anymore. It comes in, yes. Because you're so vulnerable, you're so sensitive. But you know where the destructiveness of humankind is coming from. You can understand the behavior. And you can walk away. You can walk away. That's a deep sentence. You can walk away from destructive people and destructive situations. And that's a deep one, because we are mentally enslaved by always be the problem solver. We always want to solve a problem for our own ego fulfillment pleasures, mostly. We are helping people because then we are feeling good. Then we can show to our environment how good we are. So you can walk away and not constantly be the therapist, not constantly be the coach. We're entering now the helper syndrome problematic, right? People always want to help and support others, and then they lose themselves. They have no self-love. How more or less love for yourself, how more you want to support people. First yourself. Otherwise your giving love is not real, is not honest. So you can walk away without shame, without guilty feelings. If you don't want to be somewhere, you don't want to be by some people, you don't want to be by some parties. Always people wants to be by a group, and they are scared to fall out of the group, so they go with them to parties and holidays, but you don't feel good by the group, I know it. Still you're going because you're scared to stay alone. So you can walk away to stay in heaven, right? You can be more picky. You can be more picky with who you goes, with who you want to go. Be a little bit more critical with who you goes. That's the main sentence. To stay in heaven. To stay in your ecstatic heaven. You have to be more critical. Because other peoples or groups can put you down. So no invasion is possible anymore if you reached your 7 centers. Nobody can enter anymore. Nobody can enter in my center. Because my center is so strong. My soul is so strong. No invasion is possible there, because heaven is far and far away. No invasion is possible. Page 84. This is an interesting one, and that is what I saw also on the work dynamics on office. People who has an unpeaceful character, are nervous or stressful, want to do things very quickly, want to show off about their work stuff too easily. They are made to have a quick career move. They want to have quick results, but they are unstable. They're neurotic personalities, and that are the people who are also have no duration, stability, and grounded results for the long term. So you have to be very careful also with kind of employees you go with. I can feel by persons immediately if this is working for long term or for short term. And I can give you examples of people on the work floor The first 4 weeks they worked themselves their ass off, 60, 80 hours, and everyone was happy with them. And then the guy was smoking once per day, then 2 times per day, and at a certain moment he was smoking 5 times per day, and then he was going to the toilet 5 to 10 times per day, and going to the coffee machine 5 to 10 times per day. So if you count that, if you go in 30 times from your workplace for 10 minutes, it's 300 minutes per day, right? Or 150 minutes per day you're out of your small mediocre office. So be aware is who you goes, if it is a long-term investment or a short-term investment. And I can understand with relationships or one-night stands, it's another story. But go for long-term. That is, I think, the most important lesson here. Go for long-term relationships. Go for stability in your work people. So be aware of that. So you want to have people in your company who are very stable, who have a stable character and are learnable. That are the people who can make maybe mistakes in the beginning and they have to get used on a new situation. But that are the people that are creating really value for the long term in business-wise situations. So that's what Confucius and Lao Tse here also telling, is that people with a big mouth mostly are making career very quick, but also stopping very quick with what they're doing, and that is a waste of energy for a company to invest all their energy in that kind of persons. Next topic is page 115, is Confucius. This time I know which guy is telling something. And he says something very interesting, and it's about the holy tree, and it's about the movements. The movements of an Holy Spirit are always slow and peaceful. So I can see by people how high they are in their spirituality, and you see how more calm and relaxed a person is moving on the street, and it's more flexible moving and more chill and relaxed and less tensions in the shoulders. They are much more happier also. The link with happiness is also important to understand, right? Because in life coaching, all is related to happiness also here. So be chill in your movements. Don't walk so aggressive on the streets, man. Oh my God, all those guys, they're walking so aggressive with their chest, their small chest forwarded, wide. Oh, I'm the boss here. You are the boss if you walk slowly and chill and relaxed, and your movements are fine, and your speaking is soft and kindly, and is full of love. It's full of groundness. It's full of joy. No aggressive talks. No aggressive talks. Be more chill. Speak from depth. Speak from inner awareness. So Confucius mentions 3 things. Is 1, the movements relaxed, the speaking kind and softly, and 3 is building relationships first, and then ask something about your relationships. And that is very important. People are asking or giving unasked advices to others, or asking rude questions before they don't know with who you talk with. Make first a bonding. Create a bonding with a person or with people or with groups. And then you can slowly ask something. Then you can give maybe advice to persons. That's the right following mechanisms to create win-win situations for you and for the group, for you and the other people. But focus first on trust, on confidence between you and the other person, and then you can say something more, right? So that's very interesting from Confucius, right? Building relationships, speaking kind and softly, and move relaxed and chill. On page 194, the 3 types of change. First, no change. The 3 types of change. Yes, there is also one, there's no change. No change. What's the change? By no change, your skin become older. Your brains work a little less than before. No change is only outside change. So therefore Confucius were also saying there's also the 3 types of change. Is the no change, is pure the physical change. That's also a change. The second change is the mentally change. You change also physical wise, but also mentally wise. You try to learn something. You go to therapists, you go to coaches, you go to spiritual people. And you change your mental mechanisms, the way of thinking, the way how you think. And the third one is the Gestalt change. And the Gestalt change is the deepest form of change. The Gestalt change is the enlightenment change, is the energy change, is the energy field change. And then you don't give a fuck anymore on the first change, your physical change. And the second change will be easier to understand. So you have also the Gestalt change. And that's the deepest change. The deepest change there is the Gestalt change. It's the change of your energy, your inner line, your inner energy. And on page 351 is the only one. The one is an upsurge energy. It's an energy to the head. The energy to the head to become the Holy Spirit, right? So going to your crown, going to your third eye chakra. It's the upsurge energy. The upsurge energy you can reach. And the attachment with your soul. The attachment is your soul. You have to fastness to your soul. Attachment of your soul is always going upward. It's always going upward. And you have to break through. You have to get disciplined for that. You have to be disciplined to be always there. Always inside with a kind of discipline, determination. And then you become the edele, then you become the holy guy, the higher being, if you are constantly connected with your inner line. Then you become higher, then you become ecstatic, then you become happiness, then you step out of the world. You step out of the world, the ego world, you renounce the world. You are in the world but out of the world. You are moving in the world, but you're also out the world. Spirituality is full of paradoxes, right? Full of paradoxes. Thank you for watching this video about I Think, the Book of Change. And thank you for watching, and I see you by the next video report. Hi.